On the move, always on track, and in full swing. Serving the Thamashan community by creating. Grow and growl with us. We are in full swing. We are the Tiger Media Network. We are savvy. We are more than just content creators. We are storytellers. We tell the Thamashan story. Stories of victories. Stories of inspiration. And the story of unending grace. PR360. It can be found here, and here. We have industry standard equipment and facilities for hands-on use. These equipment also enable us to service people by producing a myriad of content. We don't just share stories, we engage people. We are professionals who take our craft seriously. By transforming crazy into impressive, side by side with our student volunteers. We hone, we cultivate, we are committed to truth and kindled by love. We are the UST Communications Bureau.
Mabuhay! Isang mainit na pagbati mula sa puso, mula sa aming lahat, dito sa Bridges.
Isang pagbati po ng mapayapa, malusog, at magandang gabi sa isang espesyal na araw.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers here and abroad.
Good evening and good morning to all our viewers worldwide.
I'm truly honored to join you tonight.
Good afternoon from wherever you're at, and once again, thanks for tuning in.
Good evening to all our viewers around the world.
This is one of the best episodes we will have in Bridges, certainly, Ma'am Evelyn, right?
Totoo yan, because tonight, we're going to feature few very well-known natin.
Oo, kanina nung greetings nyo kanina, sabi ko, ay, worldwide pala ito, kaya dapat i-cover ko lahat ng mga greetings ng morning, afternoon, and evening.
Thank you very much for joining us this very early morning there in LA.
Hindi ko nga pinatulog tong anak ko para gisingin lang ako. Kaya hanggang ngayon gising pa sila.
Siyempre, kailangan ko munang batiin ang ating mga kasamahan na Tomasino dito sa Bicol. Ang mga Tomasinong Bicolano, marami po sa kanilang nanonood ngayon.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pag-invite sa akin dito at magandang gabi Thank you sa mga viewers.
I'm so glad po, and it's really a big privilege to be here po in this episode of Bridges.
Sa UST Hospital din po ako pinanganak. Kaya talagang tumasan po ako. Tumasan.
Tumasan all the way. Welcome to the show.
Ganda pa naman ang sinabi ko. Hindi ko na narinig. So, hi everyone and nice to be back.
I'm so glad to be here on Bridges. At naway magkakaroon tayo lang mas fruitful na pag-usapan.
So, Father, good afternoon.
Marami bang mga youth ngayon, mga kabataan, mga K-pop, panyong sayo?
Magandang gabi din sa ating mga fellow Tomasians and all those who are watching.
I'm glad for trusting me for this particular very important topic.
Kailangan po natin ng mga bridges na katulad ninyo at marami pong tumutulong sa ating mga adhikain.
We realize that learning takes place in every place, especially in places where there are facilitators of learning. The home is the first place of learning. It is there where the child first learns how to talk, walk, pray, sing, dance, kiss, embrace, and relate with people. It is there where the child learns what love is, what caring is, what sharing is, what God is. And so today, we bring to you, pag si nanay at tatay ang teacher, or if it's mom and dad who are the teachers, this episode is brought to you by the UST Alumni Association, Inc. This is Dr. Evelyn Songko, greeting you a wonderful day. And with me, of course, is Father Marlon Bobier Vargas. Hola, Padre. Oh, that's fine.
Hola. Hola, muy buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Magandang hapon. Greetings all the way from Navarra, Spain, here in the northern region of Spain. It's good to have you again. Thank you for inviting me again to join you in this very exciting and informative episode.
Well, of course, Father. I'm very sure you will enjoy this episode, and I'm very, very happy that now we are together in this show. How are you, Father?
Yes, finally. I am doing well, ma'am. I'm doing a lot of ministry in our parish as here in North. I live in Estella, Navarra, which is a small town in the northern region of Spain, and I'm serving as a parish priest to 4 parishes. And maybe some of you have a chance to visit Spain, so please let me know. I'm willing to host you. But I'm serving in the 4 parishes, namely the Iglesia de San Miguel, or the Church of Saint Michael, Iglesia de Nuestra Señora de la Asunción, or Church of the Our Lady of the Assumption, Iglesia de San Esteban, or Saint Stephen, and then Iglesia de San Martin, or Saint Martin. So it's a challenging ministry because most of the people who attend our celebration, masses, sacraments, or elders, it's really a challenging ministry because I need to minister to the families here in Spain. And it's really tough. But
Father, do you have families there in your 4 parishes, in any one of them?
No. Most of the parishioners are from this region, for Spanish. But it's good to have at least 3 Filipina sisters who belong to one congregation, and they help us in our ministry in the parishes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I asked if there are Filipino families there because our topic this afternoon is about the family. And definitely, when we think of the family, I'm sure both of us are thinking of the same thing about the family, right? And yes. I'm sure both of us will always say the family is where the children first learn their lessons. Their first lessons, actually. Is that correct, Father?
I agree. I can't agree more. That's true. And especially nowadays, with all the things happening in our world, the parents have greater challenging yet rewarding vocation. So I truly believe in that. And hopefully our viewers, listeners today will learn more and be inspired through our guest speakers today.
Yeah.
And I hope you don't mind, ma'am. I'll go ahead and introduce our speakers, our guests for our episode this afternoon.
You're really excited, so sure, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So our guest this afternoon is Anne Famorca, a 2003 graduate of BS Psychology from the University of Santo Tomas College of Science. She worked with the recruitment and training departments of several banks, namely Union Bank, BPI, and Metrobank. Then she got married to Brian Tan, a legal management graduate from the Ateneo de Manila University. Then one day, Anne decided to be a full-time mom to their child, Zen, and Brian decided to have a business that now brings their family even closer to one another. This is an exciting. I'm curious to know what the sort of the turning points in their lives, why they decided to change their career. So, friends, let us welcome Anne, Brian, and Zen.
Wow. Welcome to the show, Anne, Ryan, and of course, Zena. How are you? I am so happy to see you, Anne, and of course, Brian. Yes, how are you?
I think, Anne, you need to, yes.
Sorry.
Okay, so, yes,
there you go.
Everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. Good day, Dr. Evelyn and Father Marlon. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Anne, and this is my husband, Brian. And
Hi, good day, everyone. Thank you for having us here at Bridges.
And this is our daughter. Her name is Zen. Say hi. Say hi.
Wow, hello, Zen.
Hi, Zen.
Hello. Wow, flying kiss.
Thank
Wow,
you.
wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. So how are you? How are you, Anne?
I'm doing well, Dr. Songko. So I'm a full-time mom right now, something which I actually never imagined that I would end up doing.
Well, actually, when was the last time you were in UST?
Oh, it's been a long time. It's
Really?
if I recall, it's about 2014, right
Really?
before our wedding. So we got married 2014, and I believe the last time we went to UST was to deliver some invitations to a few of our Tomasian friends.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
So it's
You know,
been
and
8 years.
it's 8 years. You know, and it's good to know that we belong to the same university. It's interesting. It's 2003. I was also a graduate of UST from the College of Education. So we're batchmates. We graduated. That's the
What a
same year.
Oh,
Yes.
imagine, huh?
Yep. Mhm. But you
That's
know,
interesting.
you mentioned about your wedding, about having a family life, and now you have your child with you, Zen, and I'm glad that I have this opportunity to ask you about, the decision of a woman who, I'm sure you, before you had this dream that you want to pursue your career, and then because of having a child and because of having a family, you decide to become a full-time mom. Mothers fulfill a vital role in helping their children. So I'm curious to hear about your story, about your decision to be a full-time mom.
Okay, I'd be glad to share about that, Father. So we had our wedding in 2014, and actually I was during that time as I was with Metrobank in the training department, and I decided to resign from Metrobank to just enjoy the process of preparing for the wedding. So that was really the initial plan. So just enjoy the process, and then got married in November 2014, and then got pregnant in 2015. So, and then in 2016, July 15, 2016, I gave birth to Zen. So it was actually a surprise because we didn't undergo any of the prenatal examinations or the tests to see if the child has genetic defects or something like that. And then our pediatrician was actually very, what do you call this? He was actually very tactful to the point that we had no idea. He was already telling us that Zen might possibly have Down syndrome, or if you're familiar with trisomy 21. So they have a third copy of the 21st chromosome. So that's her condition. But during her birth, I really had no idea yet. We had no idea yet. So we were still clueless at that time. And then around the 2nd month mark, that's when the results came out. And surprise, your child has Down syndrome. So it actually changed the course of our plans. So that's one of the reasons. That's the main reason why I decided to be a full-time mom, because most of the child's development actually takes place in the first 5 years of his or her life, and we want to maximize those 5 years, especially since children with Down syndrome tend to be delayed in several areas.
Wow. So that must be a very important decision for you and of course for Brian, no? What was your initial reaction when you first learned that, yes, she will need some special attention? What was your initial reaction? The two of you, first you and Brian.
We were at the laboratory of Cardinal Santos Medical Center here in San Juan when we were given her diagnosis. And actually, the one who gave us the paper did not put it in an envelope. So we had suspicions, but we were actually praying that, of course, no parent wishes that his or her child would have a genetic condition. So we were actually praying that it's negative. The results would be negative. I was even telling Bri, maybe, honestly, I think I was in denial because I was telling him, maybe we can just pretend that she has no issues or she has no chromosomal issues. And he was the one who, I would say, he was very level-headed at that time. He was the one who told me, I don't think we can do that and just live in, denial and just proceed with our lives. So we cried in the car of, in the parking lot of Cardinal Santos. And then when we got home, that's when we told Bry's family about it. And we were actually telling them to please bestow the same love to Zen that they gave to their first, to Zen's cousin, to their first grandchild.
So at that time we didn't know a lot about Down syndrome. We didn't know a lot about it. So there was fear. Yes, we were worried. We were scared. We didn't know what to do. The only thing that made everything click so fast was we just accepted it. That was the first thing that we did. Because when Anna and I were talking, I told her that whatever happens, she's still our daughter. Whatever happens, we still love her. So whatever happens, we're still the parents who'll do everything that we can do for her. So at that time, we needed to rely on what was there, not be in denial. So if that was the result, that's the result. And then the next question would be, what can we do? So that's when we started doing our own research, and it was not hard. It was not like that right away. It took a little bit of time. We were still in shock. There were days when we were barely functioning. We were just like in a spell, like in a coma, something like that. So we were days. So and eventually it started to sink in, and then that's when you could say we hit the ground running. Because we adopted a lot of interventions early on.
Yeah. What really made it easier for you is your acceptance, no? It's actually your attitude towards the situation. The situation isn't really that good, but because of your reaction to it, the way you handled it, it made things very easy. Not really very easy, but it made the journey easier for you. Tama ba,
Yes,
Father?
ma'am.
Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah, yes, ma'am. Ma'am and Brian, and when I was listening to your stories, I cannot imagine the process that you went through from the first time you received the news, and then that you describe how the scenarios when you received the news, and then you were in the car, and then you went to your family relatives, and then you shared the news. I mean, that process, I was thinking, wow, what could be the source of your strength, your courage to carry that news. And I agree with Ma'am Sonko. She said about acceptance, and I believe it's not only acceptance, there's more. Maybe one of that is you share what you have as couples, and sharing, acceptance, and also I sense your humility, that that there are possibilities that might happen, but these things, for me, as I listen to your story, acceptance, you're sharing your struggles with each other, and then your humility to humble yourself as parents, that yes, there's a lot of possibility. I think these are human values that are really important nowadays. And again, we have to emphasize the importance of value and the the importance of family, because our family is the first school of human values. And I'm sure your child really experienced this. And hopefully later on, as Zen become more, grow as a kid, she will witness this. She would experience the values that you live out as a couple, as a married couple. And I really admire you for doing that. It's not really easy, but I said, I believe it's really rewarding.
To be honest, Father, during the denial stage, you'll really reach a point wherein it's like someone gave us a nudge. I would call it a spiritual nudge. Hey, your daughter will only go as far as you would allow her to. So that was a time when we decided to get a grip on ourselves and just get started with the long list of things that we had to get done.
Aside from all the values that you've mentioned, Father, one of the things that plays an important role in what happened to us is faith. Faith in His plan for us. Faith that there is a purpose for everything.
Yeah, and it's really something that it really means something to me, beyond your acceptance. The two of you agreed immediately. You immediately went through the same path. You did not digress from probably God's will. The two of you agreed immediately on what to do. And I'm interested. Did you immediately know what intervention to do? Or you really how long did it take you to do research, to learn more about the situation? How long did it take you? And what intervention did you begin to work on?
So we learned about her diagnosis at 2 months. And luckily, I have a friend who's a pediatrician, and she referred me to one of their previous patients in Makati Med. So she gave birth. This mom, she gave birth in Makati Med, and her daughter also has Down syndrome. So she's my first, I would call counselor or confidant connection to the Down syndrome community. And one of the first things she told me is to just take it one day at a time. And then, but really, knowing myself, I didn't take it one day at a time, all the time. So you can just imagine all the Google tabs that I had open. So, we need to do physical therapy. We need to go to the cardiologist. So that because for everyone's information, children with Down syndrome, 40 to 50% of them have tend to have heart issues. So they have holes in their heart or they need to get surgery. We're so blessed that Zen had no heart issues whatsoever. So that's one huge thing that we didn't have to dwell on. And then after that, thyroid, because they also have thyroid issues. So we had to go to an endocrinologist and have her so we had blood tests at the tender age of 2 months. So we went to the heart center, and she was screaming for quite a long time there because they had issues getting to her blood vessels. And at 2 months, actually, she started with physical therapy. So before physical therapy, we were also so blessed because we were given a last-minute slot with a developmental pediatrician. So someone backed out, and then the slot was given to us. It was so quick. It's like the schedule is already tomorrow, and we were like, "Go! We will grab that schedule," because it's a long line. Sometimes it would take years before children get to a dev ped or a developmental pediatrician. So we felt that was another divine intervention. So 2 months, and then the DevPed already told us you can start with physical therapy. And then he was so insistent that we go to this specific therapist because they have good experience with that therapist. So we brought Zen there. Imagine at 2 months, she was undergoing therapy already. And she made great progress with PT, with her gross motor skills. At 8 months, she started occupational therapy. So occupational therapy is more of for fine motor skills. It's actually introduced once the child is able to sit independently. So at 8 months, then was able to sit independently or on her own. We started OT, and then at 13 months, we started with speech therapy. This is one thing that we want to emphasize to parents with children with delays. We call it's an umbrella called early intervention. So when you do early intervention, it's a lot more effective compared to if you wait until a child is, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 years old. As you can see, it's so early that we started to the point that once the pandemic started, we actually haven't been able to go back to OT, but most of her fine motor skills are in place already. Like she can pick up small items, her pencil grip is okay. So those things.
Sorry to interrupt, Ma'am Songko.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, when I was listening to Anne, the way she narrates, the way she explains the details of what they're going through as parents, I mean, her eagerness to learn and to do the necessary, to have a connections with different people. I think what they're doing, Brian and Anne, what they're doing is an example of what Pope Francis said a few years ago about parenting. Like Pope Francis, I remember he said that fatherhood and motherhood are the fullness of the life of a person.
Yeah.
I think as parents, both of you, Brian and what you're doing parenting. You're also learning to discover your ability. Parents for Zen, especially what you mentioned about first reaction, denial, and then later on you reach at that point the acceptance. And I guess that's the power of acceptance and willingness to really put your faith, and then you'll discover more about yourselves and what you're capable as parents. So I wonder what else can you, do you have other advice to other parents who are in the same situation like you, parents with child with different ability?
For Zen,
they cover, no? Yeah.
Yeah.
For Zen, we actually also adopted a rigorous supplement program. So we consulted with a naturopath, and then her program is actually developed by someone in the US who also has a child with Down syndrome. Her child is already 30 years old, so that's how long she's been giving the supplements to her child. So I believe supplements and Zen's diet are really some of the things that we did, which are kind of out of the box. So Zen has a very clean diet. Just to give you an idea, before Zen, I didn't know how to cook.
Wow.
Now you learn.
Yes.
I learned from scratch when she was starting with her solids around 6 to 9 months. So, and right now, I can probably say that you can leave me in the kitchen for a long time and I can do a few good dishes. But what's good about it is that we really gave her a clean diet, so minimal sugar and minimal, because they can also be prone to dental issues. Some of them tend to have cavities and like that. So we wanted to be proactive about it. And lastly, we're also doing homeschooling. So it's something that parents might want to consider for their children with special needs, because with homeschooling, you can actually focus a lot on your child or give them the much needed attention that they want. So I guess that's it.
One of the questions we always get asked is how we were able to, or how and why were we able to do all of this. So my usual answer to that question is, it's like we don't have a choice. So Zen can go only as far as we can lead her, as far as we can guide her, because she's not it will take her time to figure things out. So we have to take the lead, we have to guide her, we have to show her what she needs to do. So and one of the advice I give to other parents is that don't be afraid to try new things, because how she develops, how she progresses is the evidence that what you're doing is you're on the right track. What you're doing is right. So a lot of the things that we're doing right now is things that we have adopted from what they were doing in the States, in Australia, in Europe. So it's techniques, things, interventions, therapies that they are all already doing there and not so prevalent here in the Philippines.
And then that's already tested, no? That's already tested. Yung mga interventions.
It's been going on. It's been going on there for several years now.
Years or decades.
So there have been clinical tests. There have been studies conducted about it.
It's actually, I would say, our generation, it's one of the best times to have a child with special needs because of all the options that are available to us. Because 50 years ago, they would just be put, sad to say, they would just be usually put into institutions, mental institutions, and then of course they would have no idea what the outside world is like. They have difficulty with their social skills and everything. So like what Bryce said, don't be afraid to try new things, explore your options, because I shared with you what we did, but really we're barely scratching the surface of our options in terms of the interventions for the children with special needs.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. I recall, Father, I recall your book, the one which you wrote, which is entitled The Roundabouts of Life. Nako, I remember you wrote that God sends us people or a person who will impact on our lives. And my question is, how did the coming of Zen in your life turn your life as a family and as a person? But we'll have that answer.
Yes, ma'am. That's
answer and reflection after our break. Okay?
Break.
And stay with us. We'll be back after these messages.
I'm Brian Tan. I'm the owner of Dev Depot, and we make play and therapy equipments for kids. It all started when Zen was born. She was born preterm, mga 36 weeks. Tapos, ang liit niya nun at that time, she weighed only 1.5 kilos. Hindi namin siya agad nalabas ng hospital. She stayed 1 week sa NICU. So, pinagawa yung karyotyping test. At that time, wala kami idea. Siguro mga 2 months bago dumating yung test. Tapos, dun lang namin nalaman na she had Down syndrome. We didn't know kung anong gagawin namin. So, buti na lang, there was the Down Syndrome Association of the Philippines. Nag-attend kami ng mga early intervention seminars. So, nag-research din kami on our own. Nagko-consult din kami sa mga therapists niya with what to do. So, unti-unti, when we saw ano yung mga needs niya, we wanted to provide for those needs. Things that were not available locally. So we had to buy them from abroad. So habang palaki siya ng palaki, palaki na din palaki yung gamit niya. So and it masyado expensive to import it. And after that, we na-realize namin na we needed to do something. Siyempre, we consulted yung mga therapist ni Zen and tinignan namin ano ba yung appropriate na stuff that would help her development. We made our own design. Tapos yung first few products that we made was yung therapy benches at saka itong mga pickler systems. We tried muna a few items, tapos gumagana kay Zen. So, as a father, sobrang happy ako kasi when you see your kid, when she wakes up and the first thing that in the morning then she says up, meaning akit na siya ng pickler niya. So sobrang fulfilling. Kami here at Dev Depot, we don't treat Dev Depot really as a business. It's more of an advocacy. We try to keep it sustainable so that we can continue on doing things like this, products like this. Before Dev Depot, wala talaga ako idea with power tools. As in, alam ko lang, may mga power tools na imbis na gagawin mo siyang mano-mano, parang di makina na. Ganun lang yung alam ko. Tapos, for me, Bosch was one of the quality brands. So, okay, sige, try natin. Ayoko na kasi bumili yung mga lower-end brands. Kasi, I was thinking of doing this as a business din eh. So, parang eventually, if naging okay, gusto ko may pangmatagalan na akong gamit. First Bosch tool ko was a GKS 7000 na circular saw. I wanted to have a first hand with how to use the power tool. So, nag-search ako sa internet, sa Facebook, ganyan. Tapos nakita ko yung Bosch User Philippines. Doon, nakita ko na a lot of people are sharing their experience with Bosch. A lot of people are sharing the tools that they have with Bosch. Tapos doon nakikita ko din kung kailan may sale, ganyan. So, it was a very, very good, welcoming community. Tapos, ang dami ko natutunan doon sa community na yun. After nung GKS 7000 na circular saw, nagdagdag ako ng cordless drill, cordless impact driver, tapos sheet sander, tapos dagdag ng jigsaw, tapos unti-unti nagdagdag na ng tools. So, yung power tools, number 1, they make it easy for me. Number 2, they make it accurate. Number 3, they make it repeatable. Kasi kaya ko ulit-ulitin yung ginawa ko. Yung quality ng tools, yung build ng tools, yung durability ng tools, given na yun. Ako, personally, I like Bosch. I prefer Bosch because aside from churning out quality tools, they think of the end user, they think of the consumer. For example, sa cordless tools, pag nag-overheat yung battery mo because of prolonged use, tapos sinaksak mo siya sa charger, it won't work. Parang it's para hindi siya mag-short circuit. It's a safety feature sa Bosch power tools. So it's the little things like that Bosch thinks of. It's like telling me na may concern, may care for the end user, for the clients ni Bosch. To aspiring crafters or aspiring makers, builders yan. Start somewhere. Start with an idea in mind. Do what you can with what you have and do it with a purpose. You're out there to fulfill a need. It's part of the process and over time you get to refine that process until magawa mo yung product mo. For fellow parents that have children with special needs, one of the things that I encountered early on na tumatak talaga sa amin mag-asawa, parang it's a quote from Dr. Jerome Lejeune. Sabi niya, look at the child as a child first and the disability second. Love the child unconditionally and the child will bloom. Yun lang naman kailangan natin gawin eh. Mahalin lang natin yung mga kids natin and then it will dictate what you have to do. So, parang nangyari sa amin, Zen actually redirected yung path namin sa purpose namin sa buhay. So, we're trying to fulfill our need and through Dev Depot, we're fulfilling a need that's not easily addressed.
And we're back. Ren's father.
Yes, we're back.
Yeah. We will answer muna the question, Father. Kasi
Yes.
because it's your roundabout thing, no?
Go ahead, ma'am.
So yun. Sige. Ano kaya yung kanilang roundabout? Yeah.
Okay, in a nutshell, Zen actually turned our world upside down. So as mentioned earlier, I wanted to be a full-time mom to be able to take care of her and attend to her needs. But of course, if I do that, I will be giving up my career as a banker, or I won't be able to go back to the corporate world. So what actually happened was we started a business. It's called Dev Depot, and we make play and therapy equipment for kids. Right now, Brian and I are full-time doing Dev Depot. Zen actually redirected our careers towards our current business. So I'll let Brian talk about our business.
Yeah. So I often refer to Zen as our North Star. So she guides a lot of what we do, and I call her our moral compass. So she dictates the path that we take. And one of those paths it led us to establish Dev Depot. So Dev Depot, we make play and therapy equipment for kids. It started with her needs. When she was smaller, her needs were tools or equipments that were just for hand play, for small hand play, small world play. Teethers, yeah. So small gadgets that you could easily order from abroad because they were not readily available here in the Philippines. So you could easily order from Amazon, and then it would easily be shipped here. There would be a fee, but it was a manageable fee. As she got older, her needs became more, and it became more demanding. So she needed more equipment, bigger equipment for her needs. So these were things that were not readily available here, or if they were, we felt that it was not appropriate for what she needed. So like what any other crazy parent would do, if you can find it, or if it's too expensive to buy from abroad, you make your own.
Yeah.
You know, ma'am, Brian, you mentioned the crazy parent, but I think your secret, your uniqueness as a crazy parent is you associate your craziness with your creativity. And I wonder, when we watched earlier the video, I was looking at the equipment that you created. Can you tell us about your inspiration for doing the design? Did you do the design together with Anne? And I'm curious, for me, seeing it on the screen, hopefully I could see that in person, but I think it's really helpful for kids like your child. So tell us more about your inspiration, times the idea, the concept, the design, etc.
First of all, the inspiration was Zen, because we wanted something for her, and this opened our eyes to the situation here in the Philippines, that there was a need that nobody was fulfilling properly. So there have others that have tried, but maybe there's something wrong with the design or with the materials they used. I'm not totally sure. So what happened was we did a little bit of research. These were the things that they were using abroad, and then we were not experts. We were just parents. So we consulted the experts, which was Zen's therapists, PTs, OTs. So is this appropriate for Zen? And the therapist actually told us that, yeah, that's great. That's what I was using before when I was in the States. So if you could make one, or if you can find where we can get one, that would really be a big help. So in the background, you can see is It's a pickler triangle, so it's technically a toy or part of a playground that you know,
It's a ladder.
so it's a ladder. It's a ladder that she can go up. She can do exercises. It helps with her motor skills. There. So she's gonna go up, and then she's gonna.
She's going up there now.
Yeah. She's going up there now. Yeah, and then you can see it helps with her dexterity. It helps her coordination. So it's really like a workout disguised as play. So they learn a lot of things about their body. They learn a lot of things, but they're enjoying at the same time.
There.
Yes. I think what you created is not simply a toy for a child, but it's an activity equipment or learning activity equipment, because it really develops not only the motor skills but also the mind of the child. So it's not only yes.
Look, tignan mo, Father, look at that. She's actually manipulating, you know.
Yes.
She's using her mind in doing that. It's not just operational, but it's also cognitive. Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah, and she knows when to slide. And she will balance. There she is. There she is.
So she will assess the situation. And then, okay, I have to hold on to this, and then step here, and then hold here, and then turn my body this way. So there are a lot of things that happening, but they're not aware of it because they think they're just playing.
Yes.
Actually, they're learning. They're exploring more about their body that way.
And that is really you know, ako, Father, and Brian and Anne, you really call that parents are enablers, no?
Yes.
You don't teach by words, but you're controlling the environment.
Yes.
You're controlling the environment. You're enabling the child to learn on their own. Kasi they will not, you will not learn for them, but they will learn on their own. And so you are the enabling facilitator. Yeah, Father.
And another thing that we can learn from Brian and Anne, they seem to be they break this mentality, that the mentality of parents with a child with different disability, with developmental intellectual disability, that they're afraid to explore because this might hurt our child. Let's not do that. We should protect our child. But what they did is something that's really beyond that traditional or mindset. Now, and look at the product, the output of their creativity, their imagination. And I just want to connect this output that they created, you know, going back to the story of Anne and Brian when they started this journey with having a child, in the process of they went through. I keep saying this, the process of, because that's really admirable. I think that's what we need for parents, that they have to explore, that they have to grow together as couple. You know, they learned, and at the same time they're formed, so they apply what they learned from their experience into creating something tangible, and now this tangible output will benefit not only their child but many families as well, many parents. It's really amazing that the profound experience of their parenthood.
Father, this is another dimension which I would like to look into, because Brian said we look at Zen as our star. You know, she is our guiding star, because you know, it's Zen who is telling them what to do in their life. And I take it as a spiritual dimension of their growing. Am I correct? Yes. Bright?
Very much.
Very much, ma'am. Because on one hand, we are just parents. We don't know everything. So we need to draw information, inspiration, and strength from different people, especially from God.
Yeah.
So it's not like we claim to know everything. So we decide based on what we know, what we have, what we experience, and then that's when we make a decision. That's when we think of what to do next, how to do it, what process do we go through. So it's It's like doing a deliberation.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really a beautiful journey, no, of togetherness, a beautiful journey of friendship, a beautiful journey of teamwork. No, tama ba, Father? It's
Yes, I agree, ma'am.
about
And
their life.
yeah, Brian just mentioned about what would be next, what would be the next step moving forward. So,
Yeah.
Brian and Anne, what would be the future do you feel awaits you now in this kind of your work, of your vocation as parents, at the same time doing this business? So, what future do you feel awaits you now in this kind of work you are doing, and where you are helping not only your child but other children as well?
Mhm. Right now, we are actually receiving a lot of requests for equipment for children with different special needs. Like our most recent one, we actually made a stander. I'm proud to say that Bri designed what do you call this? It's like the family that asked us to make it just sent us a peg of a photo of a stander, and he made everything because the child has cerebral palsy, so it's a different disability altogether. And then Bri is the one who made the stander. He made all the measurements and everything, and as far as we know, it's the first supine stander which is locally made in the Philippines. Because if a parent will actually purchase it from abroad, it will be around $3,000 to $4,000. So it's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
No
a lot.
shipping included.
No shipping yet, no customs yet,
No duties, no
no
taxes yet.
duties and everything. So right now, I think we'll be reaching out to more families with children with special needs, and maybe attending to their needs as well, or being able to supply also the therapy equipment that they need.
So when we started out, we were just thinking of things to do for Zen, things to make for Zen. Our very first client was actually Zen's Therapy Center. So yeah, so
they bought an entire set
they
from
bought an
us.
entire set, a pickler triangle set, and then all the other attachments and a few tilting benches. So we thought that it would stop there, and that maybe we could make an impact on the Down syndrome community to help other kids with Zen's condition. And then other patients or other kids with autism were also in the center, were also using the equipment. So it's good that we are able to help kids with autism. And then other kids with cerebral palsy were also using so we never imagined that we would be reaching out to other kids with other disabilities of children. It has been a very surprising journey.
It's a nice surprise.
It's a welcome surprise.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, yes, Brian and Anne, ma'am, Brian said it's a surprises, but we know that our life is full of surprises. So that's a good thing to know. And another thing that I like from what you said, how you started building connections or network. What you're doing is actually a culture of life. It's a life-giving therapy equipment that it doesn't only serve as a toy for a child, but it could also bring a community of parents, families who journey on the same path. And it's a good thing. And I think what you have now is really a gift. And at the same time, it's a task for both of you. And I hope you will never get tired of doing that. Now, a practical question, because I'm curious. So that one behind you, it's the therapy equipment, is just one design. But other parents, if they have a special request or customized design, can you tell us about this? If one parent the process of requesting of the therapy equipment.
If if a parent would be interested in having a customized therapy equipment, or they would have something similar manufactured, we work closely with the parents, and not only the parents but also the PT, the therapist involved, the PT and the OT for the pediatric supine standard that Anne was mentioned earlier. I for around 3 to 5 months, I was working hand in hand closely with the therapist and the parent, and then I had several visits to their house, take measurements to make sure everything fitted perfectly, because posture was a very good, posture was very important, integral in the design. So if it was not a good design and it didn't promote good posture, the results would not be effective. The results would not be good.
You see,
So as long as we are capable of doing it, we will try. We will try to push the limits.
Yeah. This is really getting more and more interesting, but we really have very, very little time now. Pero we have questions. Father, siguro you did want to ask these questions to them.
Yes.
Quick answer lang. Quick answer. Father, do the say it.
Yeah, so we have a few questions, and first question is what you love to see Zen do?
Just a word.
Just a word. Smile.
Play.
Smile, Zen. Oh, wow, just smiling. So nice.
How about the next question, Ma'am Songko?
You. Okay, what's the next question? The most, one word only, the most amazing quality of Zen.
Spirited.
Zen is serious.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that a while. We saw that a while ago while Zen was playing behind us. Really spirited. How about how do you see Zen's future?
Promising.
Oh, so wonderful. And parenting. Ito this one, you fill the blank. Parenting then is
fulfilling.
Brian?
Adventure.
Oh, wonderful. Team talaga kayo. You're really a team. Well,
yes.
Final message. The final message from Anne and final message from Brian to the parents who have special with children with special needs.
Never
and
get
of course
tired.
to all the viewers. Okay.
Yes. I'd like to share, never get tired of life's redirects, because God has a way of surprising us really in the most unexpected of ways.
I'd like to share with everyone that it's all about purpose. Right now, I have never been more tired, exhausted, drained, and burned out physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. But I have never been happier, never been more rewarded, never been more fulfilled.
Oh.
So it's all about purpose and having faith. Keep the faith. It's everything has a meaning.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You've been very inspiring, very encouraging to the parents and to all of us. Father, thank you.
Yes,
Anne and Brian.
thank you po. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, I think what Brian, Anne, and Zen shared with us today is the gift of a family. And together with this gift of a family is a task or a responsibility. And we witness how we learn from Brian, Anne, and Zen how they use their gift to be a way to inspire others, to help others as well. So to our listeners, to our viewers today, let us not forget that as a family, let us find way to discover the gifts of our family, and let's use that gifts for helping other people, to making our world a better place. So from all of us, from Team Bridges, Congratulations, Anne, Brian, and Zen. I believe together you will succeed to bring to the fullness the gifts of Zen. And thank you, Anne and Brian.
And thank you, Anne and Brian, and God bless your family. Brian and Anne, you are a gift to the world.
Yes.
And Zen is your star.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. We enjoyed this experience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Father?
So yes, so of course, we're very grateful today for this episode. We also like to thank the UST Communications Bureau for supporting Bridges. Here at Bridges, we build bridges of people, bridges of knowledge, and new learnings.
And friends, thank you for tuning in. Happy Teachers Month. To all the teachers at the University of Santo Tomas, a very big thank you from all of us, the alumni. Do join us again for our upcoming episodes. November 1, Hindi Kita Malilimutan, Our Loved Ones Beyond, with Father Caloy Del Rosario. November 8, episode is with Dr. Miguel Jeronimo of Ating Alamin. Our episode is Ang Guro sa Pamayanan. Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Thank you very much once more. Mabuhay and enjoy the rest of the evening.